Look what I found.
Dear ducks, my name is Mallard P. Quack. I am not a real duck. Stay away. Translation: quack, quack, honk.
Quack, 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 honk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Hyatt.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
Hold on, Chelsea. I know you're so excited to talk about this movie, but you can't. We have to remind everyone that we are selling merchandise right now, and it's your final
merch.
How many days? Final 4 days to buy it.
It's the final countdown.
Oh, they love it when we sing. So this is really gonna sell these shirts, hats, and crew necks.
We're trying to move merch.
We're trying to move product, and we're trying to move it quickly. This is a limited window of opportunity. You only have until Friday, the 12th at 11:59 Pacific time to get your orders in. And we have really cool stuff. What do we have, Sydney?
We have shirts. We have sweatshirts. We have dad hats for all the dads out there.
We know
And
we
the
have
hats are
some dad
embroidered.
listeners. The hats are embroidered. Yeah, I don't know if you can
I don't
tell
know if
that
you guys
from it.
knew that.
Yeah, they're fancy hats.
They are fancy, fancy hats. They honestly look so cool. Like, don't sleep on the camo hat, y'all. Don't sleep on the camo hat. Don't sleep on the pink hat. The pink hat's really cute.
Pink hat is also cute. Yeah. Like, which one do I want? You know, it's hard to choose.
I know. I'm like, am I going to buy all of them? No, I'm not going to do that.
And there's like 6 colors of sweatshirt, and there's like 6 colors of t-shirt, and I want all of them. So that's a real predicament for me. I'm going to have to decide. You're also going to have to decide. But if you go on our Instagram and look at our pinned posts, you can see all your options. You can also go straight to the store and look at your options there. And then you'd be so prepped and ready to add one to your cart when you made a decision.
Ooh, baby. But yeah, you can get to that link in the show notes. So whatever app you're on, the link is right there in the show notes. And also, it's in the link in our bio. So you can get to it. Anywhere there's links, it's the link to buy our merchandise.
We promise we made it pretty easy to find.
But yeah, we cannot wait for these to be produced. I'm very excited about it. We're all going to look so cute. And again, what did we decide our hashtag was going to be? Hashtag Spooky Tuesday swag. Once you get your stuff, we want to see pics of you wearing it.
But also, like, don't you want to match us? Like, you could wear it while you listen to us, and we'll wear it while we yap, and we can all be one happy big cozy family.
That'd be so cute.
And like, if you're watching the video episode right now, you might see that I'm wearing a Spooky Tuesday hat, but this is bootleg merch, you guys. This is one of a kind. And if we all get new hats, we're gonna match together. We'd match together.
We can do that.
Monica and I don't even have one of those Spooky Tuesday hats.
No,
this is the only one that exists in the world.
Yeah, and whenever she wears it, I get super jealous, but not for long, because I'm gonna have the camo version with the new logo, so it's gonna be sick. But yeah, we're really excited about merch. And if you got the hat and I got the hat, and you're walking on the streets of LA and you see me and I see you, we can point at each other and we can go, same hat.
Oh my God.
That's a meme that everybody loved in college. So I don't know if you know about the same hat meme, but that could be us. I'll send it to Chelsea. She can edit the hats onto it for social. It's going to be crazy. But anyway, merchandise. You only have until Friday the 12th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So don't sleep on it. TikTok, as they say.
Now back to the episode.
Continue now, Chelsea. Seamless transition.
And this week we're doing a Chelsea pick. This is a movie that I put on the schedule a couple of weeks ago at this point. I think when we did Creep, it got me thinking about this one for a couple different reasons.
I could
But
see that.
little did I know, well, because I went like Creep, the one I love, Honeymoon. And I think the one I love and Honeymoon in particular, although there is a clear reference with the car keys again later in this movie. But I didn't know at the time how in conversation with another recent movie this one would actually be. So I'm thrilled to see how the timing has worked out. But if you haven't seen Honeymoon, it's from 2014. It stars Rose Leslie and a guy whose name I believe is like Harry Treadway or something like that. Sorry to him, I'll look up his name in a second. But it's by director Leigh Janiak, who did the Fear Street movies. So we did Fear Street, the first one, long time ago at this point. Yeah, Harry Treadaway. So we're seeing some familiar faces, we're seeing some familiar names. But if you haven't seen Honeymoon, I'll give you the log line real quick. We'll just dive in. It reads, a newlywed couple finds their lake country honeymoon descends into chaos after Paul finds Bee wandering and disoriented in the middle of the night. So, I don't know
That
if you
is
guys...
what happens.
That is what happens. I feel like I've said this on here before. I think when we also first did... What's the name of that movie? Actually, hold on. It's in my comp notes. I wrote it down.
I don't know what you're talking about yet.
You
What keeps
paused
you
and you
alive?
didn't move, and I thought you were frozen, and I was like, "Is she there?"
I thought you were frozen
buffering.
too.
The screen was not buffering. I was buffering, but I got there. What keeps you alive? We did for Pride
Yes.
a zillion years
Oh,
ago.
So what keeps you alive? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think before we put what keeps you alive on our Pride schedule, we had looked up like summer movies. And that's like also we go away. I mean, obviously that's also literally we just got married. We're going to have a honeymoon in the woods movie. But I must have read the description for that at the same time I read the description for this, because watching that, I was expecting this. And so when I finally randomly just like watched this on Hulu at some point in the last 6 months, I was like, oh, this is that movie that I have been thinking about in the back of my head for 3 years now. So I was excited to see it then. I was excited to talk about it at some point, and we put it on the schedule a couple of weeks ago. But now that we've done Possession, I don't know if you guys remember on our Possession episode 2 weeks ago, it's like there's a movie coming up that's really much more
Oh, this
interesting.
is the pigeon
now.
pin. We're taking the pin out of the pigeon pin.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. Precisely.
When I went to pulling clips for that, we got to that part and I was like, I really wonder if she'll remember to bring it up. And look at you go, girl.
Look at
You
me go,
did
girl.
it.
I was
later.
No way. Because oh my God. Okay. I've obviously still been thinking about Possession since we did it 2 weeks ago. As you
It
can
really
imagine,
stays with
yes,
you.
which is why you liked it. And at the time I was like, I watched this movie, but I'm gonna continue to process it for a long time. I am still processing. We also just timeline wise in our real world and not in the podcast episode release world, we just finished our social week for Possession yesterday. So I'm very much still was like actively thinking and processing Possession, doing social posts about it up until yesterday. I could not find much research really comparing these two movies other than saying like nods to Possession and like blah 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 blah. But like, wow, I really feel like there's a fucking lot there. Did you guys think of that movie at all while watching this movie?
It was definitely in the back of my mind, probably, but I was just trying to like.
It's a lot to take in the first time. Sure.
I don't have.
Let me start there.
You have a unique thing with your brain where you automatically connect what you're watching in real time to things you've seen in the past. I'm always impressed by it. That does not happen for me. I'm usually like, this is the first time I've ever seen anything in my entire life,
my,
and I was
pattern
just
recognition brain. Yeah.
Yeah, you're so good at that. But yes, no, I totally see the parallels now. But
there was a scene at the end that we'll get to at some point that I was like,
yeah,
this seems right on the nose.
That really seem on the nose to me. Okay, but sorry, I'm launching right in because I've been looking forward to this conversation for 2 weeks now. What was your first experience watching the movie? Why don't you tell me about that?
I immediately were like, these are virgins. These people have never
It's their first time. Yeah.
not a single time except for right now on their honeymoon.
Oh my God.
Sure. I can see that, Reed.
Okay.
So bad.
They'll diarrhea first date, but they're saving sex for marriage.
That was also so romantic. Diarrhea on the first date.
Look, if you diarrhea
That
on the
was
first date and you guys stay together, it is kind of romantic.
Meant to
Okay,
be.
like I really liked
so
you.
funny. No,
You
yeah,
diarrheaed the whole first date, but I just want to spend time with you.
that's very sweet. It's very lovely. And as a woman in a relationship that has a big focus on poop, I really related to that.
We do have a group chat that's just dedicated to our bowel movements.
We talk
Look.
about shit a lot. It's like a
I'm not in
IBS
that
hotties
group chat for the
conversation.
record. But
IBS
yeah.
hotties and Monica.
And
I
Monica,
talk-
good for you guys. I didn't want to be in there, but I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you so much. So sorry. But yeah, so I really honestly I wasn't sure what I was getting into this because you told me not to look at anything. And so
Yeah.
honestly, because I hadn't seen the trailer, hadn't seen anything for it, I was not excited to watch this movie because I was like, I have nothing to know.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I gotta watch this movie. I don't know what it's gonna be like. It could be like anything. But usually you and I like the same types of things. But you know, anything could happen. But I was pleasantly surprised. I had a really fun time with this. And I wish there was more info online. When I was looking stuff up, I wanted more discourse, but the discourse I did see made me really angry. And then parts of it I thought was actually really, really interesting. And then so I have exciting discussion questions now posed by Redditors, but now they're my questions too. But yeah, I thought one thing though at the very beginning was I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was just like my mindset going into it, but it felt like really their romance was so cute, but it felt like so fucking cheesy to me. But then I was like, well, they are on their fucking honeymoon and they're like
If there's
giddy
a
in
time to be
love
corny, cheesy,
and
yeah.
corny.
And they're
So-
virgins.
And maybe they're virgins.
where are you getting this virgin thing from?
Everything that how they acted just screams virgin to
They're
me.
very excited to fuck. They're so excited to fuck. They do it a lot and then they don't do it again after that.
Well, they
They
want
said
to, but they
it out
can't
a
because of
lot.
other things.
Yeah. Because they're still processing their first times together. This is what happens when you do sex for the first time, actually.
You don't go from doing missionary sex for the first time to fucking in the bathtub. That's not your second time. Your second
If
time is
you-
not fucking in the bathtub.
Well,
That
they did
too.
it 4 times the
Monica-
first night. Didn't you hear about her womb needing to rest?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was
Him
so
saying,
funny.
because I just fucked you so hard. I'm sorry, virgin.
The way that they
That's
talk
a man
about
that
sex,
just had
sure.
sex for the first time.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of it. I think that the writing a little bit is cheesy for some of the parts. I still love the overall story, but I feel like it was like a little bit of a cheese fest. And also, I don't know, a part of it reminded me, I keep talking about Killing of the Sacred Deer and how
Mhm.
like people acted a little bit not human. And so like they stylized the acting where they not acting like normal humans in that movie. And at the beginning of this, I was like, is that what's happening here? Because something feels so weird to me. But what I think it actually is that both of these actors are first timers doing an American accent. I read this interview with Rose Leslie, and she was like, yeah, like we both hadn't really done that before. So that was their first time. They had to keep each other on top of it with their American accents.
Well,
But really weirdly sorry. And then I'll let you say something. Her
yeah.
accent that she chose for being an American is the exact voice of my friend. So it was really fucking scary. It was
Oh.
like my friend was talking to me the whole time. Chelsea, you have the floor.
What I was gonna say about the cheesy, corny dialogue not sounding like real people is counterpoint, I think sometimes that is what real people fucking sound like, where you say something
true.
and then it is stupid dumb and you're like, "Ugh, why did I say it like that?" But like in movies, dialogue is so streamlined most of the time that it's like, if it's gonna come off corny to the audience, you don't want it to, because that's
Yeah.
not what you were going for. Whereas
Mhm.
in real life, like sometimes you just say something and then you're like, that was a really strange word choice, but it's too late because I can't turn back time. Like, I think
Sometimes you're
sometimes that
just
is an
cringe.
inherent, yeah, that's real. That's so real. You know what I
It
mean?
is
Like,
real. No, you're right.
real people are cringe, and movie people are usually less cringe unless
Suavemente.
they're making a point of it.
Yeah.
And I don't really think they're making a point of it here necessarily, so much as just like, it is a very small budget contained movie. Leigh Janiak, this is her first feature film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she
Total
like wrote
indie.
it, directed it. The movie came together thinking of like, how can we do something that feels like it has kind of like big implications for, with as little resources as possible, which is another kind of like creep thing that it's doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it's like, let's just really streamline locations, let's really streamline cast. Again, we see later
That's
on that
smart.
they have some like practical effect stuff, but even that is so limited for what they're implying with this movie.
Mhm.
That, yeah, I mean, like, if this were a big budget studio film, I'm sure they would have gotten a lot of notes that was like, can we tweak XYZ and make it sound a little more alluring? And instead it's just a small team. And so if I don't
No.
recognize it as cringe when I write it, I don't necessarily have 4 people to point it out to me later.
Well, I honestly think that the fact that this is such an indie, low budget, like not bare bones, but kind of bare bones film is a benefit to it, because
Yeah.
like giving this the big budget treatment, they would have like showed me the big bad and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And you know my shtick, I stay all the time. I love to not know what the bad guy looks like. You know what I mean? Unless it ends up looking like the bad guy in Cloverfield, then it's great. But like the less of that, the better a lot of the time, unless you fucking nailed monster design. And they're not gonna have the money to do that, so it's smart that they didn't. And when they did do any sort of monster thing, it was something like, you know, not too complicated. Sometimes just a tapeworm is terrifying enough.
Sydney, what did you think about watching it?
I thought this movie actually built really, like, it had good tension. So like the build up was like really good, and then all of a sudden I was like, what the fuck is
It is
going
kind of
on?
a big what the fuck. Yeah.
Like, it just went from like, also, did y'all notice the frog?
Yes. That's
What
a
about
reference to Jurassic Park.
Did
Which
you,
frog?
when they're in the
What
boat
about the frog?
or something,
Yeah,
and they're like
of course.
boating, and all of a sudden she's just like having a staring contest with the frog? I was like, oh, Monica will love that part.
Oh, there's so much
She's a
frog shit
frog
in this movie.
killer.
She's a frog killer. I have
They
theories about the
scream when
frog,
you
but it's
throw
not.
them in.
It's too early for me to be saying what they are. But I was very upset that she killed frogs in her past. I was like,
I
wow.
guess they
Dare
make
she?
good bait.
I thought I had a crush on you because you're Rose Leslie, and I do have a crush on you, but it's over now. And then immediately it was
done.
back. Immediately it was back because she's so cute.
Okay, Monica, don't look at me. I've also killed frogs. You go frog
I
eating.
actually have also killed a frog.
So
It was
you
an
know.
accident, though.
I've never killed one, but I think I've eaten one. So
Oh, frog legs are
Oh, I've
delicious.
eaten. Oh,
they've died
I've eaten a
for
frog.
me. Yeah.
Yes.
The frogs are dying for our sins, okay? So it's fine. Frog
Frog
Jesus.
Jesus.
Frog Jesus. I caught a cup of little frogs, and then what you did was you took the frogs and you threw them into the river, but I put a tree frog in there, and it never came out because it doesn't go in the
They don't
water.
swim.
And I
Drowned it.
murdered it, and that haunts my dreams. Don't worry. I think about it all the time.
Well, you're in good company with this movie.
But yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought when I watched this was like, oh, this is Sydney's worst nightmare for a honeymoon.
Again, if a man was like, or I would never
It was
suggest
her. Yeah.
It's
That's what
her
it's like. Let's
cabin.
go to Canada to go to the family cabin that I almost drowned in as a child. Like, what?
Interesting. Yeah, there was a
Also-
lot of weird. That was such a weird aside. Remember when you almost drowned in this bathtub? Let's fucking it.
Let's fucking it now. Let's create some new memories. Also, I have a question about Will, the guy that she knew growing up.
Mhm.
Why did he call her Trixie?
I think her name might be Beatrix, but they
Oh.
never explain that. You just have to go. What could B be a nickname for? What could Trixie be a nickname for?
I missed when he said Trixie, luckily, so this didn't cross my mind.
I
But
only
it did
watched.
feel very Jackie Megan, didn't it?
Yeah. I was like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
what are
We
we
got to
doing
be
here?
careful. Spoiler alerts for what keeps you alive. It's gonna come up.
Okay, don't listen to this episode until you've gone and done your homework and listened to What Keeps You Alive and Possession, and then comes back, because you should listen to the episode. Don't go away, but take a pause.
Take a pause. Oh, also, by the way, just want to apologize again because I was talking to my friend Paul last night about how I made you guys do possession, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't tell him that much about it beforehand." They're like, "Monica, that's kind of fucked up," and I was like,
I thought about warning you
"I
guys for
told
this
you it's
one."
fucked up. I told
Yeah.
y'all it was fucked up. I did do that, but I wasn't gonna tell you more than that." Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I'm
sorry if you
same with
experienced
this
trauma,
movie.
but it's a horror movie
Yes.
podcast.
It's a horror movie podcast. In the past, we've dealt with a lot of sensitive topics without necessarily needing amongst ourselves to have warnings for them. But I do always think about that. Like with this one, I was like, should I warn them of some sensitive topics that come up? Because I mean, again, not
I
to
wish
get
you
too
told me about the
spoilery.
frog murder, and then I would have stated my claim to not do this film. No, I'm kidding. Keep going. Keep going.
Not to get too spoilery too soon, but again, your first experience watching this movie when you don't yet know what kind of movie you're watching, there are a lot of moments where you're like, is XYZ happening right now? Is ABC happening right now? Like, am I watching a movie that's dealing with rape and sexual assault and domestic abuse? Like, what am I experiencing right now? And it's hard to know until you finish the movie. And even then, I think people have room for interpretation, you know what I mean? But I it was so interesting when I watched it the first time that I was like guessing and trying to figure it out, and then came to my own conclusions that I didn't want to bias your experience.
I urge everyone to live inside of my brain because not for a second did I think, spoiler alert, that it's not like aliens or something. There was
Well,
no
sure,
point
that
where I was
light-
like, it's not anything else. It's aliens 100%. And yes, the aliens raped her. That's what probing is. That's literally what
Yeah.
that is. It's literally just an alien raping you, which is horrible. And that's why the
One of my
Kanye
other
rap on
cons.
ET is even more fucked up. But yeah,
One of
yeah.
my
Oh
other
my God,
cons
the
is no
shit
one
on
will
Reddit.
save you with the light beam.
Thank you, Sydney. The shit on Reddit made me crazy. You could say
Yeah.
Oh,
what
I
it
don't know
is.
what's on there.
Okay, I've seen things and it's like, this movie is just. I saw two different things. Like, this movie is just a metaphor. Actually, I saw three different things. One, this movie is like realizing that you actually married the wrong person. I was like, that's a dumb take. And then one of them was
Disagree.
like, realizing like motherhood and how motherhood is going to change your relationship. Blah 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 blah.
Disagree.
Like, I was just like,
I did.
That's a popular reading though, because when I was trying to research overlap with possession, I found an article from a website called bitchflix.com, and I found an article from a website called thedirect.com, and both of those kind of talk about that and have like those similar themes from possession pulled in. And I don't know, maybe I'm kind of changing my stance on possession a little bit as well in hindsight as I continue to process it. I think this movie for sure is a love story.
I totally agree. And there's so many people on Reddit who were like, what the fuck happened? I have no idea. what was that thing that happened? And I was like, it was aliens. I'm so sorry.
It's
I was like,
obvious.
Girl,
It's
she joined the
aliens.
hive. What do you think happened?
She's one of them
you're
now.
like, what could have happened?
Have you
What
seen
could
an
have happened
alien
to
movie
her?
before?
I was
feel
like-
like I was a really clear takeaway for me.
I was like, am I a crazy person? Am I so far into aliens that like I'm like putting aliens everywhere? But like this is so clearly aliens. There were some really good questions that were brought up through that. I don't know if we're there yet for them, but well, we're almost there. But like it's aliens. I mean, it is interesting to frame it that way. I've honestly been engaging with a lot of literature and films about like that deal with the themes of like womanhood, male
Mhm.
expectations of womanhood. You know, you heard my whole spiel on Possession about my take on it being like her discontent with the way the men in her
Yeah.
life see her that birthed the monster. I just read Night Bitch. It has a lot of similar themes to that. I just finished that today. It fucking rocks. You should watch it or listen to it or read it. I listen to all my books, sorry. But like it, so I can totally see that take. But for me, I didn't think that this was such like, I mean, it is a deeper, there's deep things going on here. But it just felt like foreshadowing to me when she like had the panic about the
Oh my
baby.
God.
The
Mhm.
baby panic.
Okay.
There's like a million foreshadowing things in this that are like super overt, but like
Yes.
it's like they didn't like make me mad, honestly. But like the baby thing, that's like that's a natural thing for her to think about. It is a weird thing for him to be like, I hope your womb's okay or whatever.
That
But
Don't
was
he's a
remind
so
me.
virgin,
weird.
so he just
But-
doesn't know how to
But
talk about
again,
it.
another example
He's a
of
virgin. He
this
doesn't
man is
know
a
the
virgin.
normal language to use.
Don't remind me
man
that I
does
have
not
a
know
womb.
Dirty talk, okay?
Yeah,
He says
girl, if we're
womb.
not trying for a baby, please don't mention my womb, even
Don't
though I know
remind me
you
of my
just mean my vaginal canal, which you pounded out last night. But
Just
like,
say
the
pussy
womb is
like a
different
normal man.
thing. Let's go back to sex ed, and I'm gonna show you what the womb is, and I'm gonna explain why that's different.
Yeah, you're not you if you're in the womb, then we've gone too far.
No, but I totally agree. I mean, I think part of I'll get into this a little more next week as well. But part of watching a movie is the collaboration between the movie as it exists and the audience as you perceive it and
Yeah,
experience it.
totally.
And that's part of what is like so magical about storytelling in whatever medium, is that the audience comes to the movie with their own experiences and thoughts and feelings and biases, and you take that away and it filters your view of things, and there can be more than one interpretation.
Totally.
And once the movie exists in its final form, it's not necessarily for the maker to say, you're wrong, here's what the right answer is. To me, this is so clearly a love story amidst an alien invasion. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
No, I
Instead
totally
of love in the
agree.
middle of a firefight, it's love in the middle of an alien invasion.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I
We're
mean,
panicking at the cabin.
it's like an alien invasion, but it's the opposite of Signs, where water does not affect them at all. So they're good with that. But
They're in
yeah, I
fact
mean,
jumping into the water.
I think that the
They
will
can't look
part,
underneath it.
the will part definitely, I'm sure, threw some people off.
Yeah.
That's a sexy man, though. By the way, just wanted to say, shout out Ben Huber. Good job, even though it was scary because you were all angry. But that was like a good, like, I don't know, misdirection or whatever. And of course, I mean, let's look at this on its face. For Paul, a man who is on his honeymoon, of course he's gonna assume that it's a tryst with someone else instead of aliens right away. I will give him that. I will
He
give
didn't
him
see
that.
the light flashing through the cabin that we saw in the first 2 minutes of the film or whatever. He's
Paul's
sleeping.
he's a freshly de-virginized man who is not me, Monica Height, who's obsessed with aliens and is thinking about aliens all the time. And I can see that and I understand that. And also the vibes were whack between
Mhm.
B the name Bea. I always want to say Bea, and I really have a
Oh.
so I kind of need to stop looking at it. Otherwise, I'm gonna call her Bea, and it's just gonna get weird.
I
But
had a
the
friend who
vibes
Be
spelled
were
her
like
name
honeybee.
intense.
Bzz.
I had a
Yeah,
friend in
cute.
high school who spelled her name Bea and she went by Bea.
See, okay, that happens
There you go.
sometimes. I'm not crazy then.
People do all
Once
kinds of
again,
stuff. So
people
creative.
do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's her tryst from years back. Honestly, I'm jealous of B because I also
summer
would go
love.
vacationing in the same place every summer in high school, and I was like, I'm gonna have my summer love. It's gonna
My
fucking
little summer
happen.
boo.
Never, not once. Not even one time. But she did that, and it was Will, and he's hot. So good for her. Paul should be happy for her that she has that.
Little high five, baby. Good job.
Be like,
Obviously, they
damn,
didn't
nice
smash
catch.
back in the day because that was her first smash in the beginning of this movie ever.
But
But
there could have
they
been heavy
probably got
petting
a little third base action, you know,
over the clothes action, you know,
some groping.
a little dry humping to practice.
Oh, a
Oh
lot of
my
dry humping, I
God.
think.
Just a little heavy petting between friends.
Here's the thing, dry humping is so back for 2024.
Oh, it was on the ins list for
It's on the
sure.
ends list. I'm just
It's on the
saying.
ins list. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Sydney, you're so right. It really did build tension really, really well because like they're having such a good time. Everything's going so well, but like the introduction of Will and Annie's characters is so fucking weird. It's so weird. And the lights, I love the lights throughout, the power pulsing throughout the
Mhm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. It was so good. It was so
Yeah.
scary.
I
They
think
shouldn't be
once
doing that.
they should. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, there is so much foreshadowing in this movie once you know what to look for. It's actually, if you know what you're watching, it's unbelievably heavy-handed.
It's so heavy-handed.
Because they have
It was
in
like,
the
here is
beginning,
a
it's
rope.
like,
Reminder, she has
yeah.
a womb.
Yeah, it's like she is alone and now she's not. And um here are my ducks that are not real. This one's an imposter. It's not like the other ducks. And
Oh,
also you can hide
yeah.
things inside of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And
Ew,
it can
okay. That's
peck
too
at your
much.
nipple.
yeah. And it can peck at your nipple. That's very important foreshadowing as well. But like when they start having the conflict as well, he's like, and she says something that I'm just tired from the wedding. He's like, you wanted to get married. And she's like, that's all that I want. And like, once you know the weight of that statement, it really like hits clearly as well.
Wait, can
But
you explain that, or is it too, are you not allowed to say? I don't get what you mean by that part. Maybe I missed something.
okay, so I mean, I think spoilers. We've done a
We're
lot
there.
of
We're
spoilers
34.
already.
We're
Whatever.
30
Yeah,
Yeah,
minutes into
we're
the
34
episode.
minutes in.
you've decided at this point what you're gonna do with your life, and that's up to you. Um, they're fighting, and she's trying to be like, "I'm just tired. Stop questioning me. That's why I'm forgetting things. That's why I don't want to have sex or whatever that point in the movie was. I don't remember exactly chronologically.
She's taken
Um,
Advil. She's taken Tylenol.
yeah, she's
She has
practicing in
a
the mirror.
headache.
Yeah. But she says, I'm just tired from the wedding and everything. And he says, you wanted to get married. And I think that's where people are kind of getting the read of like she's pushing against these pressures of marriage and society and heteronormativity, blah, blah, blah. But she says, that's all I want. And if you link that to when she says, you're ruining this, you're ruining our time together, to me, the tragedy of this movie is that she has known basically from moment one, the first moment, what happened to her. She explains later, I know what they know and they know what I know. She knows right away what happened and she knows time is limited. And she just married this person she wanted to marry. That's all she wanted, was to get married to him. And now she knows,
Okay.
instead of getting to spend the rest of their lives together and that being 40, 50, 60 years, it's gonna be just a few days. And she's trying so hard to like hold on to those few days and enjoy them and be like, let's go swimming, let's go on the boat, let's spend time together. But I don't want to tell you what's
Let's
wrong
not
because
have
then
sex,
we won't
though.
be able to have. She can't without giving
can't.
up the goat. Like,
The
she
snake
doesn't
will
want to
eat his
do.
dick.
She doesn't want to do
Sorry.
anything to give it away, because the second that she admits to any degree that something really is wrong, they're not going to be able to have their honeymoon together. That will be over. That will be gone. And she just wants to, this is all she's ever going to get. And she knows it. And she's trying to be like, I just want to have this. But if I tell him anything, he's not going to be able to accept it in time for us to enjoy this very limited time we have left.
No, that is really, really tragic. I hadn't thought about it that way. I was focusing more on the literal thing that she said, because I guess that was just another like like I don't know, shadow curtain thrown over what's
There's a
actually
lot
happening.
going on again when you
Yeah.
are not when you're on a first watch.
Well, no, I mean, I just mean like she was like, he was like, "Oh, I thought you wanted to get married." And I was like, "Okay, the fact that she's having a bad time right now doesn't mean, like, the fact that she's tired from the wedding doesn't mean she didn't want it to happen." So I was like,
Weddings
I felt
are
like that was a
exhausting.
big escalation from him in the fight, in the context of just that fight. So I didn't think about it extrapolating beyond that. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the abduction and all of that. I mean, I think that that whole setup for her disappearance was so spooky, because he's trying to do this nice thing to her, get the fish caught
Wake up
for
early
her,
to
wake up early,
yeah, catch their
do the
dinner.
yeah, that's super, super sweet. And he's literally gone for like 15 minutes and she's already gone.
Like,
And
not even. It's like
not
he
even.
bumbled towards the door and only just barely got outside with his tackle box and fishing rod before he looked at his phone and was like, "Oh, my alarm didn't go off in the morning when it was time for me to go fishing. It went off. Oh, the power must have gone out. It's only 3:45 a.m. Let me go back inside." She's gone.
She's already
She's
gone.
nowhere to be found.
And I mean, the finding her naked like that, the fucking ooey gooey ooze. I love the ooey gooey ooze. I
The
love
goo, I also, that's a
love
reference to
goo.
possession.
That's
Very
a good, yeah,
possession.
yeah. It wasn't pussy this time, which I appreciated. We
Mm.
can only have so much pus in a couple of weeks, you know. So it was
We
just
reached
like
our limit.
a standard goo, and I liked that, clean. This was an independent film, so we couldn't go full pus. um, but I mean, I just think the way that she deteriorates is really brilliantly done. And it's so unsettling. Like, imagine being Paul and like all this, you know, something weird happened. You know that your wife doesn't want to talk about it because she's trying to make sure that we all have a nice time or whatever. But then like she forgot to grind the beans for
coffee.
the coffee.
Here's
Like,
the
and
thing.
she's so sure she did it right. Like, oh my God, it
She's
is
arguing with him about
unsettling.
the French toast. She's like, "No, I battered it." And it's like, "Well, girl, I'm looking at it right now
No,
and
you
it's not
didn't.
battered."
Could you,
Yeah,
Monica, could you imagine Adam's reaction if you were like, "Yeah, I ground the beans."
no,
You're
I
like,
did it.
Adam would divorce you
He's-
immediately.
He's a big coffee guy, so he would be really
He
freaked out, but he knows that I fuck that shit up all the time because there's like two different settings on our grinder and you have to like dial it in literally with this fancy dial set to a specific number, and the number changes depending on the bag that we get. So every time I'm trying to make espresso, I have it on the coffee setting. And every time I'm trying to make coffee, I have it on the espresso setting. So that part wouldn't alarm him as
So
much.
maybe
He's
Adam would be
fucking
like,
it up.
"Actually, this is just a
He'd be like,
regular day for
classic
Monica."
No, that one, but no, it's funny that you said that because I was watching this movie and I was like, oh my God, if this exact thing happened to us, Adam would not know based on the weird shit that she says. Because how often do I try to say a word and say, I will go take a sleep? Like, I would do that. Like, I'm trying to say the word.
Time
What's
to
the
sleep
one
now.
other word that she messes up? Not besides not knowing the word nap. There's something else that she says. Oh, she couldn't think of suitcase. And she
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, the box
The
for the
clothes
clothes.
box.
I would literally say exactly that. I would like I forget
do
the
that a
words for
lot.
things all the time, and I just describe them in a very cumbersome way. I was like, he would
I do
never
that a
know.
lot.
He wouldn't know until it was too late, until we were all dead.
But my thing is like when I do that, I'll be like, you know, that thing that you put the thing in, like in a
Exactly.
they're
Remember
like,
earlier when I was trying to remember the name of what keeps you alive? Yeah.
I'd be like, oopsies.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, okay. In that scene when he's first looking for her, there's another little visual metaphor foreshadowing where it's like she's gone, he notices the door is open, and then he gets really focused on a moth drawn to the light.
Yeah, what was
Mm.
that about?
That's how like she's pulled outside to the light, the alien searchlight, like or whatever it is. She follows the little path, the lit path down into the woods,
Totally.
and then
I see it.
he finds her naked. But yeah, I mean, I it's the first time you're watching this movie, I like you, Monica, saw the light searching and I was like, aliens. And I also I think had pretty recently watched No One Will Save You. And so I was like, yeah, aliens.
This reminded me of No One Will Save You, and I really want to do that on the pod.
Yeah. But I mean, from his perspective, it's very easy to be like, okay, did she get bit by a snake or something and she's being poisoned and it's having like neurodegenerative effects? Did she hit her head or something and she's got a brain bleed and she has an injury that needs to be seen by a doctor? Did she experience trauma of some kind, maybe from this guy Will, and she's like dissociating and her trauma is affecting her ability to process her memories in like a logical way? Like those are all very real possible explanations for what could be happening to her before you jump to she's being replaced by a doppelganger or whatever you're thinking. You know what I mean? Before you go to the supernatural sci-fi explanations, there's 1,000 real world explanations for why your wife, who you found
That's true.
wandering the woods at night naked, might be behaving really strangely. And like he's trying to figure out what's going on and she just keeps being like, it's fine, I'm fine, calm down, come back here, just chill out, like nothing's wrong, it's no big deal, I'm just cold. Like because she knows, like I said, she knows that something is wrong and she knows exactly what's wrong, and she's just trying to shove it all down so that they can have that time. And he is so like, I don't want our honeymoon to be ruined. So if it was just a weird thing, yeah, I don't want to be the one that ruins our one and only honeymoon, but also like something is not right.
Something is very, very wrong. But as a viewer, for me, as soon as I saw the whole Will part with Annie, I was like, oh, well, this has happened before, and that's definitely what's happening there. But now I'm thinking about it, I can also see that being a read where, like, oh, Will is abusing Annie or whatever, and now he's
He's
going to
this
do
violent
that
man.
to
Look how he was
be.
with his wife. And
But I think that, like, he seems, I don't know, he didn't seem so sinister to me that that occurred. I don't know. I was just like, I knew it was going to be aliens. I didn't read
Well,
anything. I promise you. I was just like,
no,
it's
I
aliens.
mean, yeah.
doctors always say like always assume it's like a donkey and not a zebra or something like that when you're
Mhm.
like trying to diagnose things. Like
Occam's razor.
always go for like the most common stuff instead of just
Yeah.
leaping. But I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's aliens. It's so
It's-
obvious.
Right. Well, I
It's
think
aliens.
even when you're like it's aliens, it's like, well, what kind of aliens are we dealing with? Like, did they
And now we
did
don't
they
find
abduct
out.
her and replace her with somebody else to be a little spy? Like, you don't know yet if it's like kind of a Stepford Wives deal or kind of an Invasion of the Body Snatchers deal or like what exactly
Yeah.
is happening. You just know something aliens.
Well, that was my discussion question that I wanted to bring up. And I don't know if we're jumping too far around, but I feel like we're just discussing everything that happens right now. Later on in the film, as like a last resort kind of thing, Paul goes to Will and Annie's place to try to like get more answers, get help, that sort of a thing. And he finds Annie and sees that Annie has similar things going on. She's got the bumps on her legs, the blood or whatever on her inner thigh, and she is getting in a boat. And there's something in the boat, and then he finds Will's hat with the blood on it. And so, what I didn't think about at the time, I mean, it's very clear that she's obviously done something to Will. That's what it seems like. She's killed Will. That's what you think.
She's just
But
hiding him under the water.
no, I know, but why did they do the exact same thing? That's the thing that's so weird. She's also hiding him under the water. So the question was like, what do you think is actually going on with Annie? Like, do you think that, or not Annie, with B? Like, do you think that that it is this love story? I like your take on it, where it's this love story and she's holding on to her humanity as hard as she possibly can and doing the best that she can to stay in her body for as long as she can. Or is it this like alien hive mind thing where like it's telling her that she's saving him, but she's actually killing him, and that's what the aliens want?
Here's my take.
Something to consider.
Something to consider. I think that she is doing everything that she can to save him. I don't think it's weird that Annie and B had the same idea because, again, they're part of the same hive mind. So I think it makes a lot of sense that they would jump to the same conclusion of here's what I know about the monsters. Here's how they could maybe possibly be beat. I don't necessarily know why they think the monsters can't go under the water or see under the water. But if we think about the light and the way that it searches and what they know about it, I think they're coming to the conclusion it's going to find anything that the light can find, but they're not shining the light underwater. So I can hide them under there. She has a line earlier in the movie where she says, earthworms can survive for 5 minutes underwater. And I also honestly, I don't know that I knew what to think about it so much the first time, but it's so much like the end of Possession that I think it's again sort of that return to the womb safety sort of thing of like, I'm hiding under the covers, I'm pulling the covers up over my head. It's not a good solution. Maybe on some level, they both are able to understand that putting them under the water and hiding them under the water and tying their wrists and ankles so that they cannot swim and attaching them to an anchor will kill them, but it will also stop them from joining the hive. So if they're gonna, okay, she says about herself, like, my body will still be here, but they're taking B. Like, who I am is going away, even if my body stays. I think what they're doing for their husbands, whether or not they know that they're killing them, and I kind of am inclined to think that they can't appreciate that in their state.
Because they've like
They're
lost their
making
connection
that,
with like
yeah,
humanity in that way. They're
right.
like,
They're
I'm
too
keeping
far
your
gone.
body safe, but they're
Yeah.
not thinking about like the body's needs and
Or
like
they're
that
like,
makes sense to me.
I'm stopping who you are from being removed from your body and your body staying. Like, I'm putting you out of reach of the aliens. Even if you die, again, I don't think they have an appreciation for that, but they're saying the aliens won't be able to get to you where I'm putting you. And you dying or not dying, that doesn't matter. At least you won't be joining the hive against your will.
Such a horrific concept, man, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're having their bodies co-opted, and we kind of get that with the womb conversation at the beginning. And I totally understand the focus on motherhood and womanhood and that read on the film. And I think that's valid.
No,
I
I mean,
think,
she is literally impregnated with whatever the
yeah,
fuck that
She
weird
is a
tapeworm
mother.
snake. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I also just, even if you're not reading it in terms of an impregnation or however you're supposed to say that word, you know what I'm trying to say. Even if it's just like Mallard P, what's his name? Mallard P. Quack, I'm not a real duck, stay away, and how you can like hide things in the wood and fake. Like, even if something's just being stored in the cavity of her body and you're not reading it as a literal impregnation, um, it's like the danger and vulnerability and fear of having a womb that can be co-opted against your will by an outside party, whether that is a man who you've just married who is trying to impregnate you when that's not something that you want, or an alien species that's coming to take over the planet and they're starting right here, or maybe they've started elsewhere, but it's happening right here, right now on your little lake.
It would absolutely start in Canada.
Everyone's too
Are
nice
they
up
in
there.
Canada?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
in
they're in
Canada.
Canada. There's like 40,000
So is what
Canadian
keeps
flags.
you alive. Wow.
There's so many Canadian flags in there.
Yeah, right at the beginning, you just see literally like a bunch of Canadian flags and they driving. And also, they let you know that they actually live in New York, though.
They
Don't
live
Oh,
you
I
in
want to
New
be
forget
really
it.
The whole
clear.
beginning is them
That's probably why I
crossing the
was like, what do you mean
border.
they're in Canada?
Yeah, no, they're from New York. To make that very clear. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's a more effective film if emotionally speaking, if she is in there and she's trying and fighting to stay in there. But I also think it's super horrific if she's gone immediately and that's an alien just pretending, because that, I think there is significant evidence for that too, just because of the way that she's like trying to do human shit. I mean, I think maybe the one detractor from that is the first morning afterwards. Like, why would she even know about French toast at all at that point? Unless like they, you know, the aliens, they're like,
Well, it's got
humans
access
love
to her
French toast.
memories.
Yeah, exactly. But like, even when she's like finally fessing up to what happened, like I thought that part was like a little bit strange, that she like had like more connection to like her memory suddenly or something like that. But it didn't still seem like as emotional as I would have expected it to be if she came back to herself a little bit more. So like I don't know. I like both reads on it. It can go either way for me, but I wonder what they were originally intending. I'm down for either. I'm down to clown with either idea.
I can see it as like a war within her of like the aliens trying to take control and her trying to hang on and them doing whatever. But I personally really prefer the read where she's going through a transformation that we see is to some degree complete, question mark, by the end. I guess I don't know what her final form would look like, her final Pokemon evolution, but we see that she looks different.
B3.
Yeah, so we see that she is physically changed by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like the descent into that from the beginning. um to me, I think it is so powerful of a read to say that it's her trying to hang on to her humanity, because it makes that fight when he's tied her up to the bed so compelling. She's so frustrated, she's so over it, she's so like, but they have this conversation where she's saying, I'm your wife, and he's saying, how do I know that? And she's like, how do you not know that? And I think that's what's so frustrating for her. He's so on the outside, he doesn't have the information to appreciate what's going on. He just knows
Yeah.
You don't know who I am. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you live. You don't remember how we got engaged. You don't remember what food we ate on our first date. Like, all this information that you don't have that you're repeating to yourself so that you can regurgitate it later. I think you could be someone, something else other than my wife. I don't know if you're here to hurt me the way it seems like happened with Will and Annie. To I so prefer the read that it's like she's trying to do everything that she can, and when she has that confession where she's saying like, I could still feel them with me. I can still feel them with me. I wanted to tell you, but I'm not allowed. Like, she's doing everything she can
Mm, I
to
forgot that they have that
fight and to
control
say,
over her too.
yeah,
But
Oh,
also
it's so
him
horrific.
being so icky when she is tied up, and he's like, well, you have her knees
I
and
know that scene is so yuck.
like your thighs are the
Yeah.
same, and then he like puts his head on her thighs and like licks them,
You
and he's like,
taste the same.
"Ugh."
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna do
That
like
part was
something wildly
weird.
inappropriate
And
there,
he
and it
does
kind of
stick his
ends
Can
hand
we
up
in her
talk
going
about
pussy.
there.
Can we?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
he literally shoves his entire hand into her pussy, by the way. When he takes his hand out, the whole thing is covered in that
There was,
weird
I was like,
intergalactic
are we
ooze.
fisting? Like, what are we doing?
How does this feel for you? Like, she
But
just stabbed
also,
herself with something in there, so be careful.
he does that earlier on the boat, and she's just like bleeding a lot.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, I
stop touching
think
her.
that's part of the movie that is so hinky, where the first time you're watching it, you're really like, okay, again, what kind of film am I watching? Because before I get to the end, and even maybe once you get to the end, it's so easy to be like, maybe we saw them and they're like happy marriage exposition in the beginning of this movie, but that's literally on their wedding day, and we've known them for 5 minutes. That might not be representative of the actual relationship they have. We don't know what kind of guy he really is. He might be the kind of husband that coerces his partner into having sex, and she needs to have pre-planned scripts for how to say no when she wants to say no, and she has to practice and rehearse in the mirror ahead of time. But
That's fucking
given the
horrific.
way,
That
I know,
never occurred to me at all. That's horrible. I hate that.
yeah, but
I
given
feel
the way
you
that
though.
they fuck in the shower and he fingers her, and again, literally in our group chat the other day, remembered that there was bring back fingering discourse. I think that's the way he
Yes.
initiates a lot of the time, and I think that they're horny and they fuck a lot. Even if
Yeah.
maybe they were just de-virginized in the beginning of this movie, they're hot for each other's pods. And
They've
I
slept with
think
each other
it's,
hundreds of times. That's what he
yeah,
says.
I
Four
think
times,
they slept
5
with each
times.
other hundreds of times in the first 2 days of this movie, and then unfortunately there's an alien invasion.
This
But
is what happens when you have sex. You'll get
that's why
pregnant with
everyone should be
aliens
celibate
and
forever.
die.
Did you know
Yeah,
that this is
that's
a
what
pro chastity podcast? Jesus Christ.
I have always
Where are
maintained that
morality gone?
position.
We're
But no, I
good
mean, I
girls,
think,
Monica. Okay,
yeah,
Can't relate.
Monica.
we're saving
Um,
it for marriage,
but no, I
just like
think
they
a
did.
lot of it is like what would otherwise be normal foreplay, I guess, if you will, normal, like getting the ball rolling. And then some of it he's like specifically trying to incite a reaction to see how she'll engage. He's like kind of like testing her a little bit, to
Well,
be like, why is she practicing in the mirror, and now she's giving me that script, and he's like, do you not want to have sex? He's like, what is this, what's going on here? And then he saw her hurting herself, so at the end, I mean, I think it's easy, it's so weird, the way he behaves there is so weird, and it is yuck.
that part
But
was weird.
also, from his perspective, he is like a man who has lost his wife and is like scrambling to
yeah.
understand and is like having a trauma response and being like, you seem like her, but you're not her. So I don't know what's going on, and you're hurting yourself and you're bleeding and
I
something is wrong. And I'm just trying to understand.
honestly, like, even though he does some like pretty outlandish stuff, I don't think it's like, I think he's a very
Loving, tender,
empathetic
attentive
character.
husband in many
Well,
ways.
no, he's like his character is and not an empathetic character. See, I'm doing that thing where I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. So
Oh
I'm
my
saying
God,
kind of
she's
your
been
thing.
replaced.
Oh
Exactly.
no.
No, but like I not I'm not going to be a man named Paul in this situation, but I would do a lot of the things that he's doing. Yes, he is trying to finger her on the boat, but he is trying to get to that pussy because he knows there's something fucking going on down there and she won't tell her what it is. So like he's doing that.
If you're gonna pretend everything is normal, I'm gonna try to initiate sex like everything is normal.
Exactly, because like obviously there's some like weird look like fucking like again tentacle marks on her inner thigh, so that's fun
Or
and
like,
exciting.
yeah, like she's trying to say it's bug bites, it's mosquito bites, and he's like, you look like you got bit by something. Maybe like, is it snake bites? Like, what was it, fangs or something? And she's like, yeah, mosquitoes. The way she
I
says
think
that
he
line also
keeps
so
it
wacky.
Vampires.
together. I think he keeps it together longer than I would because once I saw
Yeah.
that bruising that was down there next to the bites, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. I would have tied her up earlier and put her in the car and drove her to the fucking hospital because like that should not be bruising like that.
Something's going on. Yeah.
Something's fucked the fuck up. That is not good. And like, oh, I don't know. So, the scene in the bed was absolutely when she's tied up was absolutely just like gut-wrenchingly horrific and I was
Yeah.
screaming at the top of my lungs the entire time because it was just so uncomfortable to watch, but I do think it was brilliantly done. Like I love body horror. And it just like went
It
on
looks
for
so yuck and
so
like a well
long.
done, accomplished way in the movie, also.
And it looks like
He's like,
a fucking umbilical cord a little bit too. So bringing back the like pregnancy womb shit.
It did look like a big umbilical cord, but also another, is it just a worm? Would you love me if I was pregnant with a worm?
The age old adage back again. Would you love me if I was a worm?
But this is, would you
uh,
still love me if I was pregnant with a worm? Like, I guess I
but
accidentally, technically cheated on you with an alien against my will. Uh,
and now I've got a
and
little
now I'm
worm
pregnant
baby.
with a worm. Are you
well,
gonna
she kind
step
of is.
up and take care of this worm baby and me?
Well,
She wants it
what do we
out.
think is happening? Do you think that they're being impregnated in a way where like they're gonna spit out a fully formed alien after a little bit, or do you think that that is like the like it's like the syringe, that worm is the syringe that injects alien consciousness into the body or whatever, and then they take over the body? Because it's kind of hard to parse because I could see it either way, but then she still feels the alien like inside her even after the worm is pulled out of her. And then she still continues on her transformation after that. But for me, visually looking at her as she's in those late stages of the transformation after the boat scene with Paul and his night sleeping with the fish as time happens, she looks like she's deteriorating to me. Like she looks
Yeah.
like her skin is like decomposing. Like she looks like a zombie. I thought the
Yes.
makeup was really cool. She
Mhm.
and Annie both look like zombies, not like they're, but maybe their skin's gonna fall off and they're gonna be green men. Who
And they're
knows?
gonna like slough away. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what's interesting is we see Annie presumably in the moments before or after she is similarly going to tie Will up and throw him in the water. Either she's just done it or she's about to, maybe. Um, and she looks bad, but she does not look inhuman the way that B does by the end of the movie. So I think that's an interesting argument about like what are we seeing, what's happening. we see two different people, but we're not close enough to Annie to know what's going on in her story. And also the fact that her name is Annie also feels like a reference to possession and Anna potentially.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. Is like, has she been disconnected in a way from what's keeping her alive? Question mark at that point. And so even though she's still connected to the hive in a psychic way, potentially, is her body decomposing and falling apart because the worm has been removed? And I mean, like, she's clearly in the bathroom trying to remove it herself or take it out, or she's trying to claw it the fuck out of there.
yeah.
And then
Oh,
she
and
has
that's a
that
good
moment.
point for your
Yeah.
argument, Chelsea, that it is her in there, because why would she be doing that if it's like
Mhm.
an imposter the whole time? Anyway, keep on going.
But yeah, I mean, then on the bed when he, again, she can't hide it anymore because he stuck his hand in her pussy and he is like, there's gross goo in here. And it's
Sometimes just
very
how it
scary,
is.
spider webby looking stuff. Um, she begs him to take it out at that point. So I mean, I think there is certainly an argument to be made that the reason she's deteriorating the way that she is because it's been removed. Because when we saw Annie at presumably the same point that B is by the end of the movie, she doesn't look good, but she doesn't look as bad.
Oh, I thought she did look as bad. I mean, there's
She didn't
a
look
lot
like
of
scaly, to me at least.
Oh, I thought she did,
She
but
looks
I don't
like
know. I've only
tired,
watched it once.
exhausted.
She looks
I
like she
think
had a bunch of
another
dry
thing,
skin too.
She didn't have like weird little green eyes, which again, possession.
Her pupils were so dilated at the end too.
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. There's so many different ways that you can read this, which is fun to hypothesize. But like another thing, this is early days of this invasion, obviously, because like there's I don't know, there's not
Starting
a
in the
lot of
remote
evidence that
areas,
this has been
again,
happening.
no one will save you, maybe.
Exactly. I mean, it's that. And maybe the what I said earlier was totally wrong when I was like, this isn't like science and they can handle being in water. Maybe that's the whole thing, is that they can't. And maybe that's what B knows in her mind, because she's part of the hive mind, and that's why she sinks Paul down underneath the sea. And maybe that's something there too. And maybe the whole idea is that they're trying not to fail in a way that the science aliens failed, where they like are injecting themselves into human bodies that can survive, what are built to survive on planet Earth. And so like that's the way that they're taking over. It could be like that. And if that's the case, then I think maybe she is dying. I don't know. It could really
Well,
go
again,
either way. That's the fun thing with aliens. There's so many different ways for
yeah.
them to invade.
If it is like a takeover thing, that does feel very no one will save you or an invasion of the body snatchers kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Mhm.
very much a read for that, other than they're trying to eliminate the human race so that they can come inherit the earth. Like, there's a lot of
Mhm.
space for different types of aliens and different interpretations. But I think it didn't occur to me before. I think I like that she's deteriorating because she's dying because it was removed, and she's spending her last few minutes watching her wedding video. And I think that's also like she's still in there
Well,
because she just wants to, Paul is not there for her to continue
Who's
having her
she
honeymoon
keeping the
with her
act up for?
anymore. He
Yeah.
just wants to, she can't remember, so she's just like she wants to just watch her fucking wedding video, man.
also too, like the last thing where it talks about her being alone. She was
Yeah,
like,
where it
I
circles
was
back to that quote.
I was alone and now I have
Before I was
you.
alone, but now I'm
And
not. That's what she
yeah,
says.
and now she's alone again and does not have Paul.
But also she's not alone because she's part of the fucking hive, so
Yeah, because she
Alone.
goes down to those unknowable dudes, those silhouette guys, and that's it.
they're
Ooh,
dark bodies. Yeah.
they're dark entities. I really liked this movie, Chelsea. It was cool. I'd be interested to watch it
Yay!
again. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
wish
like
I allotted myself more time to
I
watch
know. I
it.
thought about warning you to be like, you might want time to think about this one, but I never know if I should say something or not.
Here's my thing. I was planning on watching it
you
last
could say
night and then
that.
I got too
Okay.
high and I was like, I think this is bad. And I stand by that. I think I would have had a bad time if I
You
watched
would
it
have had a
Yeah,
last
really bad
night.
you
time.
had
But
a really
I
bad
Yeah.
time.
wish that I watched it earlier today so I could have watched it
Hmm.
twice. But
Yeah, got
I would
like
have had a bad time watching it last night.
30 minutes into a second watch and then I had to stop. But last night I had a friend over and I pitched Honeymoon, but he was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. We're gonna watch something else. And I was like, okay.
But yeah, I mean, okay,
Um,
I'll go through my notes a little bit with you to tell you what I noticed on a second watch. My first note, the ducks are metaphors, and I'll read you her little note because I did write that quote down. But he's like, "What's with the ducks?" And she says, "They're fake and hollow, empty inside. I used to hide things in them when I was little." And then she looks inside one and finds that little note, and it says, "Dear ducks, my name is Mallard P. Quack. I am not a real duck. Stay away." Translation: quack, quack, honk, quack, 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 honk. So again, it's like this is the danger. She's looking out for him on a couple of different times. There's that time where he sees the light when he's awake and he goes outside to investigate and he shoots the gun and that wakes her up and she comes out on the porch and she's looking down on him and she's so mad that he went outside. She's like, it's dangerous out there. Like, you can't go out there. Like, you have to stop. She's yelling at him like, she says at one point, it wasn't Will, okay, you have to stop, kind of admitting that like something did happen and he doesn't quite
mhm.
fully catch it because he's so like in his own ideas about what happens. But yeah, I mean, her whole thing is like trying to stop him from doing anything other than just enjoying their honeymoon together, and she's trying so hard to be like, oh, I want to kiss, but I have to divert. I want you to know that I want you, but I have to divert from anything that's gonna reveal something terrible has happened, so we can't have sex, but I don't want you to think that I don't want to be here with you.
Yeah.
We see her writing in the first time that she goes to have her sleep instead of her nap, we do see her like curled around the diary, so she has that early on. And then we see her writing in it at one point being like, my name is B, my husband's name is Paul, and you don't appreciate like why she's doing that then, and it seems possibly sinister, like she's like trying to write a note for help or something. Maybe you don't know why she's doing it until Paul is over at Annie's house and sees the writing everywhere that says, my name is Annie, my name is Annie, my name is Annie, my husband is Will, my husband is Will, like that's when you start to really catch on to it's something that they're trying to like hold on to. He says, what are you gonna do to me, at one point when he starts to get scared and starts to think that Annie's done something to Will, and she says, I just want to protect you. The car keys are gone. She hides the car keys again. That's like creep. It's like get out. So again, you do kind of know something funky has happened. That the car keys being missing, I don't necessarily have a good answer for, other than maybe she's trying to contain what's happening to this area. And like she doesn't want to go back to New York. That's a major fucking metropolitan area with whatever is inside of her, you know? Um, she's trying to be like, let's stay here in the wilderness where we've seen two other people and that's fucking it. Um, but I don't know, man. Like he says, they have that whole exchange where he's like, I love you, honeybee. I love you, honeybee. What do you say? And she was like, we don't remember. Like, it's just, I think it's she's remembers bits and pieces. She's inventing. She has little bits of it here and there. She's like, oh, I do remember now. She's like, so he's so hurt by the fact that she doesn't remember, and to him that means you couldn't possibly be my wife, and she's trying to say, I am your wife and I love you and I want to be here with you, and this meant a lot to me and I loved our proposal, and we had Indian food and you diarrheaed in my apartment. But she just like, she's trying to say to him like, I'm still in here, but she's in there less and less as time goes on. I don't know. It's so sad.
It's so sad.
Also,
This would
could
have been
be a
great for
read.
Tragic Romance Month.
Could be a
Keep going,
read
Sadie.
for dementia as well.
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
Like,
And like moments of lucidity, and
Yeah.
sometimes
So
you're there
that
and
was-
sometimes you're not.
here's the thing. This movie is tragic, actually.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
very sad, actually.
Here's the thing,
The
this
longer
movie-
you sit with it, the more sad it gets.
Another thing with possession, like this movie is right, like you don't know how you feel about it actually, because like there's a lot of big feelings and it builds up great tension and it makes you uncomfortable, and it like, I don't know, I need to watch it again. I had a good time.
Yeah.
uh
I want to say something about possession.
oh, go.
Sorry, I know we already did possession, but I'm still here, and this is our podcast.
I've been
She's still sitting at
fucking
that table,
waiting
it's
for you to
fine.
come around on Possession. I was like,
I
Chelsea
still
giving
don't-
this a 3 is wrong.
I still don't know that I necessarily get a lot of it, but I'm kind of changing my mind on some of it, which is to say, like, this movie, Honeymoon, I think is a love story. And it kind of makes me feel like a lot of possession is also a love story in some ways. Like, I know we talked about the crushing
Yeah.
societal expectations of womanhood and motherhood and being a wife, but also like, I don't know, I did that post on social that's about how he like holds his son and his wife the same way, and some people messaged us and responded to us talking about like the infantilization of Anna, and someone else commented on that post and said that Anna holds him the same way at the end. And I
Yeah.
think it's also like an expression of like caring for someone and taking care of them when they're completely defenseless and unable to care for themselves. And like, that movie is so complicated and kind of doing a different thing, but also kind of doing a similar thing of like, I am I'm still here, but who I am is going away and is being lost, and it's not in here anymore. And that's a slower process in that movie, where maybe it's been going on for a year. Maybe it started happening even before the video at the dance studio in Possession, and that's why she acts the way that she does, or maybe that's just who she is. I don't know. But like, there's something to these are some of my thoughts about love. Even when relationships end and like you're not in love with someone anymore, the love still exists. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
the
Where does
love
it
still is
go?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it is detached from the person that's in front of you. Sometimes the love that you have for a person, that person doesn't exist anymore, even if they're still out in the world, because they're changed. They're not the
yeah,
person that
yes.
I don't like. Woo, it's such an interesting reflection on love and loss.
No, that I can totally see that specific instance of that feeling where that person you love doesn't exist, because we naturally ebb and flow and change as humans, and it is completely like it's a miracle when you change it coinciding perfectly with your partner, with a friend, with anyone. That's something my therapist
when
always says. It's a
you-
miracle if you stay friends with your friends all through your 20s, because you change so much during that time. Same things with a partner. You change so much, and you can love a version of a person, and they can become someone that
Someone
is not
else.
for you.
Right, 'cause
And
you can change, they can change.
You can
like, You two
change.
change differently. Like, it is like really
it-
beautiful when two people can change, but their
That
changes
love
like,
always lives inside of you.
right, but like their changes complement each other still. Know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're changing,
It's
but you're
lucky.
going the same way.
It's lucky, but yeah, no, it's so true. It's like it's with love and relationships ending, with grief and people dying, where does the love go? It's like
still
it
there.
doesn't
It's always still
disappear.
there.
It's always still there. You just
Unless
figure
it's
out different
replaced
ways.
with hate.
True.
But
Which,
even
but
still,
And
again,
love and
that's
hate
just
are
is
very
your
similar.
another
louder
like thing
emotion
of love.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Love and
sometimes
hate are
it's not
very
that the
similar,
love
yeah.
is gone, it's that like the hate is there because the love is still there, and I'm mad.
My therapist always says
Totally.
that hate is a secondary emotion. So like you only hate something because like you're feeling something like
You
different.
wouldn't feel so strongly if there wasn't a sense of love that had
No,
been
totally.
betrayed, maybe, or that you didn't feel like it was right to hold, even though it's like a reaction to it still existing within you that you don't want, but it's still there.
Yeah. No, and that's an even more like just upsetting way to look at this. It's like B, knowing that she's changed and she'll never change back. She's forever changed by what has happened. She's literally going through a transformation and she knows she's got hours left of her humanity and she's grabbing on to this honeymoon, supposed to be the best time of your life with your partner. And it's the end of her love. She knows it will be the end of her love, completely out of her her hands. There's nothing she can do. And then it's just so sad because she's going through this whole internal struggle that she physically is barred from explaining to her partner. And poor Paul has no fucking clue what's going on. And he's just like, something's wrong. Why is she keeping secrets from me? It's completely tragic.
He
Romeo
has that
and
line. He's
Juliet.
like, we talk to each other. We're people who talk to each other.
Yeah, why would she change completely all of a sudden? Oh God.
Because
Well,
here's the thing also, sometimes things happen to you and you are just forever changed and you can't
yeah.
go back to who you were before the thing that you did not want to happen to you happens to you.
And it can happen in an instant, you know what I mean? Like this happened in one night. That seems like it's crazy and unrealistic, but that can happen. You can change in an instant and then two people in a partnership are left trying to pick up the pieces and sometimes you can't. Oh God, it's so deep, Chelsea.
Chelsea, why would you do this to us?
I know we're all
I
crying.
didn't mean to. I mean, I did a little bit, but I didn't know that what possession was going to be 2 weeks before. I couldn't have planned
No,
for that
it's
at that
okay.
time. I just went Mark Duplass
What a
and Creep,
what a
the
brutal
one I love,
double
Honeymoon.
feature. Possession
Because
and
I mean, the one
honeymoon.
I love, that's got some interesting similar stuff in
That
it
one I
too, but
was
it's
really
different.
good. Yeah, no, I mean, now I feel less bad about making you experience the trauma of possession because
It's mutual, yeah.
right after
we
it.
did a trade.
Fuck each
But I'm
other
so
up.
glad. They're like, honestly, okay. Tentacle stuff,
Yeah.
doppelgang question mark,
Alien
being
question mark.
being safe hiding under the water at the end.
Right.
There's a lot there.
There's a
I
lot there.
feel so informed by having watched Possession before we did this movie.
It pops up. It pops up. It's just so weird. Like I really like can't explain to you how many parallels I had with that book Night Bitch and Possession too. And I read that literally right after we did that episode. I'm just like, whoa. Like I feel like my brain is expanded because I like really engaged with that movie. So if you still haven't watched Possession, you really, really should. And you really should watch Honeymoon because it's short. It's not sweet. It's actually I was gonna say
It's
short
not
and
even
sweet.
90 minutes. It's like
It's not
85.
even 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 80 something minutes.
And
And that's
honestly,
including
like
credits.
it's under fucking rated. It really is underrated. It doesn't get as much love as it should. I saw a lot of haters online, honestly, and I was like, shut up. Like it's about aliens. Get that question out of your mind.
Hello.
And then,
Can't go wrong
but
with
there's so much
aliens.
more. Aliens can
Yeah.
mean so many things, and that's why I love them so much. But I have to say something stupid because we've talked about so many sad, profound things. So here's something dumb as a palate cleanser. There was a
Okay.
part of me during this movie where I was like, okay, the frogs and the foreshadowing with the frogs. They talked about frogs in the beginning. the
Pigeon
frogs
kid
being
frogs.
killed, and then there was the frog that he got and he pretended he was gonna eat it and blah 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 blah. And I was like, what if they revealed the alien and it's like a frog based alien and this is all some
They're
sort of
getting
like
revenge.
like it's like a like there's like
They
radioactive
screamed when she
swamp
was using them as
monster.
bait because they were like, "How dare you?" and we'll be back for you.
Like radioactive sludge got into this same lake and turned those frogs kids into
They're vampire
giant
frogs, and that's the
aliens.
bite marks.
And they impregnated her with a tadpole. Like,
you know how
I was
frogs
like,
go
this
like,
could
"Ooh,"
go.
and their tongues shoot out really long. That's what that worm
Mm.
was.
That's what that worm was. Yeah. Anyway, so that was I was like, it's not gonna be that, but wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah,
Gotta
my
have more
thoughts seeing the
frog horror
frog
movies.
was that I made an episode art option for Jurassic Park with the frog because they're filling in with frog DNA, and now we could potentially reuse it for this movie, but we'll see.
We should. That would be cute.
Wow.
I loved the frog one.
Oh my god,
I know, I thought it looked really
through line,
nice.
actually.
I know.
The ripple honestly could have worked for this one too. I mean, they're
I know.
interchangeable, I suppose.
It's really
That's
crazy.
why our through lines, Spooky Tuesday's timing is always right. I had a couple maybe through lines. No, maybe that was just the one. There was another clear reference I wrote down at some point. Oh, the goo on the nightgown. That was a clear reference to possession.
Oh my god. Goo. That whole
Goo.
part when he was like, "Well, where's your fucking nightgown?" and she's like, "It's in
Oh,
the
I want
box."
you to wear your nightgown,
in
your
the box.
sexy
It's in the
nightgown. I
box.
love your sexy nightgown.
It's in the clothes
I put it
box.
away.
What are
It's
you talking
dirty in
about?
the clothes box. I couldn't possibly pull it back out.
Come on, don't be
Me
don't be
and it's
ridiculous.
just an extra large t-shirt and my old granny panties. Oh, my sexy nightgown. I can't put that one back on.
It's my spirit Halloween shirt. That's my sexy nightgown. It's my oversized spirit Halloween shirt.
I have two drawers of oversized t-shirts that I wear that are literally just sleep shirts. That's what
Mhm.
my drawers are dedicated to. I'm like, oh yes, what do you mean you don't have two dresser drawers for sleep shirts? Anyways, I give this movie a 3.5.
Oh, you're jumping
We're
right over the segments.
segments.
I'm
Okay,
joking.
well, let's go to segments because it's time. How could this movie be gayer? If it was gay, it would be What Keeps You Alive. They
Well, that's
even have
also
a
different-
rowboat.
Yeah,
No, it's
that's
totally
a different
different.
movie too.
Yeah, this isn't a robot. It has a motor, actually.
Annie and well, they're in a canoe at one point.
Mhm.
Annie and Will should have been a gay couple. That would have been great. Even more for B
Well-
to grapple with. B is like, oh my god,
Did I marry a man when I'm
I
really in love
never-
with women?
I
Well,
never
but here's
told Paul
my-
that I'm bisexual.
Well, I think she is bisexual, but maybe that's also just because Rose Leslie played a lesbian in The Good Fight, and so I'm like, she's got queer energy. I don't know what her deal is in real life, but she's got queer energy.
Good.
But I think it is like not just that Annie and B got caught in the light or whatever. I think it is like
think it's
explicitly because
they're
they were
women.
women. Yeah, so
agree.
I don't know that you could have had it be a lesbian couple necessarily, unless one of them was trans. And then that could have also been maybe why she doesn't recognize her at first. And then she's like, oh, okay, I know who you are, and I remember how I knew you back in the day.
Oh, that's a good. I like
Um,
that. Good push.
yeah.
Good push. I like that.
You could also, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for gender fuckery in general. Rose Leslie's character could be a trans man, although I think that would be a different level of heaviness of like the body horror to reckon with in that movie. But you know, there's space for all kinds of different things. For sure, though, I think that she is queer. Her character is queer.
I like that.
To be called
gives that
Trixie or
energy.
to be called B, that feels queer.
Gay all the way around.
Paul is actually a gay man because this is his first time having sex with women.
But he really likes it.
He's a bisexual man.
Yeah, this
And
is
he's
just
like,
his first time
where
having-
does it say?
He's only been with dudes before.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
This is his
still
first
That's
time
why
having
he
sex
doesn't
with
want to
women.
be normal. He puts his whole fist in.
Yeah,
I
you know,
really-
they do be fisting.
really do not
He's
get
like, this is
virgin
how
vibes.
it's done, I thought.
I literally not at all do I get virgin vibes from them at
No,
all.
to be clear,
Oh my God,
I
I
don't
at
either, but I
all.
think this is a fun
These
joke.
are virgins.
Okay,
These
I
are
wasn't
virgins.
sure. Like, I wasn't sure if we're just making a joke or if it
Sydney-
was
I
based
wasn't.
on something.
I wasn't.
Sydney has
I
vibes. I'm making a
stand.
joke.
These are virgins.
Yep.
I think they fuck a lot. I think they probably would have fucked if
think
he
they
didn't have
fuck a lot.
diarrhea.
You don't know to tie someone up if it's your first time, unless you watch a lot of porn your whole life, I guess.
Yes,
and
you
just been
absolutely
practicing
know
for
how
this
to do
moment.
that.
Well, he's just had so much innate confidence. That's crazy.
That was like the fourth time that they had sex. Please.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Again, it does the trajectory is not, it's not exponential growth when it comes to this shit. Okay, any other gay thoughts?
So many gay thoughts.
Matthew Lillard. There's only 4 characters in this movie. He's the silhouette.
Oh,
He's the dark bodies.
he's the
The
frog.
dark body. He's the frog.
He's the frog.
That's
He's
it.
the delivery man who brought the glazed donuts to their wedding, and we didn't see him,
That
but
you
he was
don't
there.
see.
Okay, but
Yeah.
actually, what if when Paul is pulling out the umbilical cord alien, when he pulls it out, all of a sudden Matthew Lillard pops
Just a tiny little Matthew Lillard face on the end.
Tiny
When it
little,
like
like, head.
twitches, that you see Matthew Lillard rearing his head up.
No. Oh my God, no. Well, I think it
that.
would be a hilarious cameo because he's only in it for 5 seconds. If Will was Matthew Lillard, you're like, oh my God.
Oh my God, you
I haven't
bagged
seen
Matthew
you
Lillard
since-
back in the day?
I
Oh my
haven't
God,
seen you
slay.
since before Scooby Doo. Okay, dumb bitch. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
don't.
hard.
I think
There's
again, cast is so limited, and
they're all so
they're all
such
doing their best under
forgivable
the
characters.
circumstances.
It's Paul for me because of his comments about Indian food at the beginning.
But they got Indian food at their wedding. They like it. They just had to get
He loves
revenge
Indian
on
food.
having Indian food that poisoned you by having Indian food that nourishes you and sets the stage for a healthy relationship.
He was giving, I'm too white and can't handle Indian food, actually.
But he still tried it, and that's big.
And he said
Sometimes
also-
white people are the weakest link. Goodbye.
He
A
said,
lot-
I've
most of the
now
time.
built up my tolerance to the spice over the years of our dating, and now I'm prepared to eat it again, second time ever at our wedding.
Wow, big. He is a brave man.
I would say their wedding guests would say they're both the dumb bitches for having donuts instead of cake.
How could they do that? Especially, did y'all see that Anna
Wouldn't-
Taylor
wouldn't
Joy
fight with me.
and her husband
Oh
had
yeah, their little
anatomical
heart cakes.
correct little tiny heart cakes and they fed them to each other?
That's
And I'm like,
cute.
honestly, stealing. I love that. Love
Spooky,
that.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
that's very you. That's very
Like,
you.
I love that. I'm gonna be like, let me eat your heart. You can have mine. We're married now.
That's so cute. Other donuts don't bother me. I feel like the dumb bitch is the alien for ruining their beautiful honeymoon because
Yeah,
I
what
liked
about their
them, and I thought they were
honeymoon?
so cute. I
Yeah,
thought they
the
were
aliens
cute,
and
even
the
though
bitch
they were
were sexually
cheesy.
assaulting these women.
And I thought both of them were really good looking, and so I just wanted them to just have their nice time. But I knew that was not in the cards because it's a movie and it's a horror movie. This is a horror
It's a
movie
horror movie.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Knives out of fives.
Knives out of fives. Okay. Sydney already gave us hers, but she'll have to repeat it because I didn't write it down because we weren't there yet. But yeah, I mean, the reactions to this movie are so not necessarily reflective of mine. On IMDb, this movie has a 5.7 out of 10, which is not the end of the world, but it's not even a 6.
That's not very good. Yeah.
Yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes, it does have 76% from critics, which is fresh, but it has 44% from audiences, which is rotten. And like that is a huge, that's like a 30 percentage point disparity. Like that's a huge difference.
Yeah. That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, Sydney, you want to go first because you already went, and then I'll go after you, and then we can end with Chelsea.
Again, a 3.5 for me. I think I need to watch it again
Mm-hmm.
for it to be like, because I think
Provisional rating.
right, like I gave Possession a 4 because I'd watched it twice. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd like sat with it before, and I watched this pretty rushed. I was like finishing it as soon as
Sometimes you got to do your homework the morning it's due, okay?
sometimes you're just busy. But I had a really good time and sitting here and like listen because like I didn't know actually what I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. And so listening to like y'all talk about it more made me like it more and also made me like Possession more.
Yeah, oh, this movie for sure.
Chelsea
Like, I
didn't
had
know she was
already
coming in with an
seen-
assist for me on
Yeah.
Possession with this movie.
I had already seen this movie when we did Possession, but rewatching this movie really made me feel tender feelings of
Post-Possession.
love.
Right? Like this movie, I think again, a good double feature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a fucked up horrible double feature. It would be
It's
Possession
such
and
a horrible
Honeymoon.
double feature, but I definitely started making a list on my phone at one point of movies that would be good double features, and I'm gonna have to add Honeymoon and Possession to that list.
If you just want to have a bad time and want to feel shell-shocked at the end and upset. Like this would be the movie you have to watch after Possession to make you feel better.
About Possession.
That's
Well, but I think that would
terrible.
also be the proper order.
Yeah. No, it has to be that. You can't end with Possession and then go to
No.
bed and
No.
lie in bed with your eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling all night long, thinking about little Bob in the tub. Anyway, you really need to watch Possession to listen to this episode. I will go next. Again, a provisional, not possessional. Possession is all I can think about. A provisional for me because I would love to see this one again. I'm gonna give it 4. I had a really good time. I think that this is a really fun concept. I like that it was so ambiguous, but then also definitely aliens. Because it leads to really fun conversations about the motivations. It is strange that Annie and B are both doing the same thing with their husbands, the way that they kill them or unwittingly kill them. I thought that was really, really interesting, and that was a really interesting conversation. But at the end of the day, this is such a tragic love story. And like, I don't know, I just know a lot of people like in the process of getting married right now, and so like this feels even closer to like hitting closer to home, and it's just like to have that moment that's supposed to be like the crown on top of your achievement of getting married just to be stripped away from you in such a like visceral and disturbing way. Like I won't stop thinking about that fucking birth scene, or I don't even know, extraction scene for a long time. So yeah, I'm really glad we did this one. Great pick, Chuff.
Yay! Oh my god, I'm so glad. I was like, they could both hate this potentially. And I wasn't super worried about it, but I was like, well, I don't know, and we'll see. And I really want to talk about it in context of Possession. So I mean, like I said, I really liked this the first time I watched it. It was part of a Spooky in the Woods marathon. It feels very like it would make a good double feature with a lot of other movies, so that'll go on my spooky double features list. That needs to be updated now with like a bunch of different installments. But I think it's a very impressive feature film debut for Leigh Janiak as a writer, as a director. I do find Rose Leslie's accent a little distracting, but I'm desensitized to it from The Good Fight, which she's also wonderful on. Did not know that guy didn't have an American accent, so good for him. He convinced me. I think everyone's giving really strong performances where on a first watch it can leave you so unsettled and unsure of what you're getting, and then when you have an idea of what you're getting and you rewatch it, you can read it in such a sympathetic way when earlier it was kind of scary and like you it makes for a really interesting rewatch. So I mean, I don't know that I would give it a 5 knives necessarily, because to me that's like tops, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna give it like a 4.8, I think, because I think it's so impressive. I like it a lot. I like it so much more now that we've done Possession. I would love to have a conversation with Leigh Janiak about this movie and about her influences and like really dig into it at some point. So
Yeah. She seems so cool. Remember when we saw her
yeah,
at
she's
that
like, let's kill some
screening?
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, we should honestly consider doing Fear Street Part 2. Not 3, but Part 2 I would do. Because those are the only movies that she's ever done. Like, she's done a lot of TV, but it's this movie and Fear Street trilogy, just those 4. So I can't wait to see what she does after that, because that's like
Mhm.
tonally very, very different.
Different.
Those
Lots of
films.
different things going on. Yeah.
Very different. Yeah. Okay. So before we introduce what we are doing next week, this is time for a reminder. A reminder. It's your last chance for romance. If you want Spooky Tuesday merchandise in this run of merchandise, you will only see this merchandise the way that it is now, these 3 items, this one time, except for maybe the hats, honestly. But the other stuff, this is your last chance, and you only have until this Friday, the 12th of April at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And that's your last chance for romance. So it's getting sunny out. Don't you want to wear a hat and keep the sun off of your face? But also, it's still raining sometimes. So don't you want to get cozy in a little crew
Oh, I'm
neck?
cold.
Ooh, cuddle
Also, it's gonna be
up.
so cold.
It's gonna be
if
hot
you
soon after that. You're gonna need a t-shirt to cool off.
exactly.
I know. We've got you
It's
covered for
versatile.
everything.
All weather.
Except for pants. We don't have pants for you. So you have to provide your own pants. Sorry. We're not there yet.
Possible slutty Spooky Tuesday shorts coming in the future. Who knows?
Just really size up on your t-shirt and it can be a dress.
There you go.
Ooh, that's true. Try that. Try that. So yeah, we're really excited about this merchandise, and we're really trying to make sure it gets to all of y'all in this short period of time. So this will be it. You have until Friday. That's it. So don't say, "Oh, can you extend it?" No. We can't do that. It's this is your only chance. So keep that in mind. We love you. Sydney, what are we doing next week?
Okay, so next week we went to the theater. Spooky Tuesday goes to the theater. Spooky Tuesday goes
We
to
left
the
the house.
movies. And we saw the movie that has been a buzzin' all over the internet, and that is Late Night with the Devil.
And I
Woohoo!
saw a writer-director Q&A. So if you want inside info, baby, I've got it.
I want it. I need it.
Woohoo!
I can't wait to talk about it next week.
And it
I
will
can't
also
wait to see it.
if you haven't made it to the theater and you don't think you'll be able to, guess what? We also timed this episode for its release on Shudder. So during the week that this episode is out, you're going to be able to watch it online. So you'll be prepped and ready to listen.
No excuse not to watch.
We
not
are
to listen to our
excuse.
So
episode.
considerate of y'all, actually. You're welcome.
Mhm. Have you heard that? I've heard it. But yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity, for some permanently written compliments for us. What do you think? We just went through a rebrand. Did you notice that? How we're sexier now? You could write, "You look so sexy with your hair pushed back," aka you got a new rebrand. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Somebody actually just gave us that review almost exactly. They said, "Love the new look, love the pod," something like that.
Slay.
Shouts out to that person. They rule.
love
So you could be
them.
like them and be getting love from us all the time. And also you could just give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We love that too. Or Audible. Once again, it's still just Leo with the, with the one review there, and you could be
Shout
the
out to
second
Leo,
one.
though.
Shout out to Leo, though. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on everything, pretty much, except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we are at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And here's another plug for our YouTube channel. We look really cute today, so you could be seeing that. And we just changed the way that we do the quotes on there, and there's little video clips now. Looks pretty sexy,
cool.
honestly. I
It's
was really
exciting.
proud of it. So come peep that. Come peep a clip if you'd like. And thank you for listening. Buy our merchandise, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, Spookies.
What are you
I
saying?
just wanted our honeymoon. My body's here, but I'm leaving. They're taking everything. They're taking me. B. They're taking B.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at great18_. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can find on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's Ryan, RYAN, Brom, BROMM, Art, ART. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.tumblr.com.